On April 9th, 2025, a woman came into my shop holding a dealership estimate for $1,840, and she asked me a question I will never forget. She pointed at one line on the paper, a water pump for her 2014 Highlander, priced at over $400 for the part alone, and she said, "Is this what water pumps cost now?" I walked over to my parts shelf, picked up a sealed box, and set it on the counter next to her estimate. Same pump, same manufacturer, same factory. The box said Aisin on the side, and the price tag on it said $127. She stared at that box for a long time, and then she asked the question everyone eventually asks. How is that possible? Today, I am going to answer that question completely. Because after 2 decades of working on Toyotas, I can tell you that the single biggest secret in Toyota ownership is not a maintenance trick or a hidden feature. It is this: Toyota does not make most of the parts in your Toyota. And once you understand who actually does, you can buy the exact same components from the exact same factories for a fraction of what the dealership parts counter charges. Not similar parts, not equivalent parts. In many cases, the same part, sometimes with the Toyota logo simply left off the casting. Here is the uncomfortable truth the parts counter never explains. Toyota is an assembler and an engineer, not a component manufacturer. Behind every Toyota is a network of suppliers, and 2 names sit at the center of it. Denso, which was literally spun out of Toyota decades ago, and which Toyota still owns a large stake in, builds the electronics, the sensors, the ignition parts, the cooling components. Aisin, a Toyota group company since the 1960s, builds the water pumps, the drivetrain components, the tensioners. These are not aftermarket brands imitating Toyota quality. They are Toyota quality. They are the companies Toyota trusts to build the car in the first place. And both of them sell those same parts in their own boxes through normal parts channels at prices that make dealership invoices look like a joke. The dealership is not lying to you when they say genuine parts matter. They are just leaving out the part of the sentence that would save you money, because genuine mostly describes the box, not the factory. The markup you pay at the counter is not buying you a better component. It is buying you a logo, a warehouse network, and the overhead of a building with a waiting room and free coffee. So let me walk you through the 15 parts where this gap is widest, where the savings are real, and, because I will always be honest with you, the few situations where I still tell people to pay the dealer price. Number 1 is the oil filter. This is the gateway realization for most Toyota owners. The dealership will charge you a healthy counter price for a single genuine filter. The same genuine Toyota filter, identical part number, sits on major online retailers for a fraction of that. And if you buy them 10 at a time, the per filter price drops to pocket change. Nothing about the filter changes, only the building you bought it in. Number 2, the engine air filter. Dealerships love this one because it gets recommended at nearly every service visit. Denso makes air filters for these engines, and a Denso filter in a Denso box typically costs a third to half of the counter price. It is a pleated paper element in a plastic frame. There is no secret technology to pay extra for. Number 3, the cabin air filter. And this one almost feels unfair. This is a part that takes most owners about 90 seconds to replace behind the glove box, no tools required. Dealerships routinely charge $50 to $70 installed. The filter itself, from the same supplier ecosystem, is often $10 to $15 online. Percentage-wise, this may be the single biggest markup on the entire menu. Number 4, Spark plugs. Open the box of genuine Toyota iridium plugs and read what is printed on the ceramic. It says Denso or NGK because those two companies make essentially every plug Toyota installs. Buy the identical Denso or NGK part number in the manufacturer's own packaging and you will typically pay half or less. Same plug, same iridium tip, same factory line. The only thing missing is the Toyota part number sticker. Number 5. Oxygen sensors and air-fuel ratio sensors. These fail on high-mileage Toyotas, and dealer pricing on them is brutal, often $200 to $300 per sensor before labor. Denso built the sensor that came in your car. Denso sells that sensor. The savings here regularly runs 60% or more, and because it is the original supplier, you are not gambling on a cheap sensor that reads slowly and wrecks your fuel trims. One honest warning, this only works if you buy the exact Denso part number for your vehicle, not a universal sensor you splice wires on. Never splice. Number 6. The water pump, the part that started this whole video. Aisin makes Toyota's water pumps. On many engines, the Aisin box costs a quarter to a third of the genuine boxed price. When my own truck needed one, that is what went in. Number 7. Timing components. Tensioners, idlers, and on older engines, complete timing belt kits. Aisin sells full kits that bundle the belt, tensioner, idlers, and water pump together, using OE-grade components throughout, usually for less than the dealership charges for the pump and belt alone. Mechanics who work on nothing but Toyotas buy these kits by default. That should tell you something. Number 8. Alternators and starters. Denso territory again. A genuine boxed alternator can run $600 or $700 at the counter. The Denso first-time fit unit for the same application is often less than half that. Here is my honest caveat though. With rotating electrical parts, make sure you are buying a new or Denso remanufactured unit, not a generic store brand Riemann with a Denso core. The label on the outside of the box matters here. Number 9. Struts and shocks. KYB supplies suspension components for many Toyotas from the factory. Buying KYB's original equipment replacement line typically saves 40 to 60% over genuine boxed struts. But I will be straight with you because this is one of the areas where nuance matters. A supplier's aftermarket line is not always tuned identically to the factory calibration. On a Camry doing commuter duty, you will likely never feel a difference. If you are picky about ride quality on a specific model, this is one part where paying more for the genuine box is a defensible choice, not a scam. I want you saving money intelligently, not blindly. Number 10. Brake pads and rotors. Toyota's factory brakes largely come from Advix, a company formed out of the Toyota Group's brake operations, and both Advix and Aisin sell pads and rotors through normal parts channels. You get the same quiet, low-dust, ceramic behavior the car had when it was new, usually at half the counter price. What you should not do is swap to the cheapest white box pads on the shelf. The savings play here is buying the original supplier without the logo, not buying the bottom of the barrel. Number 11. Wiper blades. The dealership will happily sell you genuine blades at $30 to $40 each. Denso makes excellent blades. So do several other companies. This is a rubber strip that wears out by design. Pay $10 to $15, replace them more often, and see better in the rain than the person who paid triple. Number 12. Drive belts. The serpentine belt on your Toyota was made by a Japanese belt manufacturer, not by Toyota, and companies like Mitsubishi and Bando, along with Aisin branded belts, sell the same specification for a third of the counter price. A belt is a belt only if it is built to the right length, rib profile, and rubber compound, and the original suppliers obviously build to their own specification. Number 13. Radiators and condensers. When a plastic end tank finally cracks at 180,000 miles, the dealer quote will make you consider selling the car. Denso builds cooling system components for these vehicles and sells radiators that fit like factory because they effectively are factory. The savings are often several $100s on a single part. Number 14. Ignition coils. When one coil fails on a V6, the smart move is often replacing the bank or the full set, and at dealer pricing that turns into a four-figure conversation quickly. Denso coils, exact part number match, cut that number dramatically. Same warning as the sensors, match the part number precisely, and be careful on auction sites, because ignition coils are one of the most counterfeited parts in the entire Toyota world. Buy from an established parts retailer, not the cheapest listing you can find. And number 15, the thermostat, small, cheap, and constantly marked up. Aisin and Denso both produce original equipment-grade thermostats with the correct opening temperature for your specific engine. This is a $10 to $20 part pretending to be a $50 part when it wears a logo. Now, here is the part of this video that separates real advice from internet noise, because I promised you honesty, and honesty means telling you where this strategy stops. There are things I still buy in a Toyota box every time without hesitation. Fluids are the big one. Toyota's coolant and the WS transmission fluid have specific chemistry, and while quality equivalents exist, the price gap is small enough that I do not think the experiment is worth it on a transmission you want to last 300,000 miles. Gaskets and seals for major internal work, same story. The cost difference is a few dollars, and the cost of doing the job twice is your entire weekend. Anything related to airbags, restraint systems, or crash structure, genuine only, no discussion. And software-dependent electronics, things like smart key components that need dealer programming, are often simpler to source through the dealer anyway. The rule I use is simple. When the original supplier sells the identical part under their own name, buy the supplier. When the part is cheap, chemistry critical, or safety critical, the logo is worth the money. There is one more layer to this, and almost nobody uses it. Even when you do want the genuine Toyota box, you do not have to pay counterprice for it. Several large Toyota dealerships run online parts operations that sell genuine parts at 25 to 30% below retail, shipped to your door. So even the person who insists on the logo is overpaying if they are buying it in person, at the counter, at full list. Think about what all of this means across the life of one vehicle. A Toyota that runs to 300,000 miles will need filters, plugs, sensors, a water pump, brakes, belts, maybe a strut set, and an alternator. Buy all of that at the counter and you might spend $4,000 or $5,000 on parts alone. Buy the same components from the companies that actually manufactured them, and that number can fall by more than half, in some categories by 80%, with zero compromise in quality, because the quality was never coming from the logo. It was coming from Denso's sensor lab and Aisin's casting line the entire time. The dealership model is not evil. It is just built for people who do not know who makes their car. Now you do. Your Toyota was always a partnership between Toyota's engineering and a handful of quiet Japanese manufacturers whose names were never on the hood. Buying from them directly is not cutting a corner. It is going straight to the source. If this video just changed how you buy parts forever, hit that like button so more Toyota owners find it before their next service visit. Subscribe if you want more of the knowledge dealerships hope stays behind the counter. And drop a comment telling me the worst parts. Markup you have ever been quoted. Because I read every one, and some of the numbers you people send me still managed to surprise a mechanic who thought he had seen everything. The most expensive part on your Toyota was never the water pump or the alternator. It was the logo on the box. And starting today, you never have to pay for it again.